Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, teaching this word in truth and sincerity. I'm back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And today's lesson is going to be on the ongoing conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis and why land inheritance matters. Because the Palestinians will say, we have ancestral ties to the land of Israel. Before the British Mandate, before the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, we were here first. But ever since the Israelis got in there, they've been pushed and displaced out of the land. And what happens then? It becomes different conflicts, different wars that are ongoing. Now you got these militias, Hezbollah, Hamas, that war against Israel, backed by Iran. But guess what? If the true Israelites were in the land, there would be no conflict. Right? The so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if they were in the land of Israel, there won't be conflict over a land that's not yours, because the land doesn't belong to the Israelis, nor does it belong to the Palestinians. Right? The Israelis, they're Ishmael. Or the Israelis, not Ishmael, they're Edomites, right? The majority of them. And then you got the Palestinians, which are Ishmael. So when things are not ran through the laws of Yahweh Bashim al-Shai, you have conflict, you have war. Right? So let me get Deuteronomy 32 and 8. And Lord willingly, this lesson is edifying. So it says, when the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Let me read this again. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, right? So the Lord divided the nations their inheritance, right? So he gave everybody a plot of land for their inheritance. So, of course, Israel being the Most High chosen people, he set the bounds according to them, according to the children of Israel. But everybody else still has a plot of land that's theirs, right? When Israel gets back into power, when the true Israelites get back into power, then we're going to take over the land of Israel, right? But the whole world was made for our sakes. So we're going to govern the whole world based off what the scriptures say. Right? Let's get that in, what is that, Isaiah? Oh, no, it's not Isaiah. It's 2nd Esdras, Slakia. 2nd Esdras, what is it? 5 and 56. I'm gonna start it there. Right, because that's why we don't possess an inheritance with this world. That's why we're displaced. Because once we got kicked out of the land, once we fled, ever since 70 AD, we haven't been in our land. So that leaves room for all these different nations to claim a land that's not theirs. I think it's 6 and 54. It says, 2nd Esdras 6 and 54, it says, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all creatures, of him call me all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen which have ever been reputed as nothing have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. And that's what happened to Israel. We were devoured by these different nations. And they took our land and they displaced us. But in the last days, the Lord is going to bring the spirit back, and we're going to figure out who we are, and the Lord is going to bring the elect back to the land. It says, but we thy people whom thou hast called the firstborn, thy only begotten, and the fervent lover are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world, and how long shall it endure? Right? So we don't possess the inheritance with this world anymore, because the Lord is going to give us the kingdom of heaven. So right now, this kingdom is ruled by Esau, Edom. And of course, with the wicked being at rule, the people are going to mourn. So the people are not in they're not in the state of ease anymore, where they they can just chill and relax. They got to keep on warring with these different nations of people because nothing but war and violence on the earth because of Esau Edom. Right? So let's go to what happens when you defile a land with blood, and that's what's happening when you go in war and you conquer different lands. You rule these different lands, right? But these lands don't really belong to you. So now you have an impending judgment on you for taking these lands. And let's get this established. Israel was commanded by the Most High, or the Israelites were commanded by the Most High to take the land of Canaan, because the land of the Canaanites became the land of Israel, and the Canaanites were wicked. So the Lord wanted us to displace these 7 Canaanite nations out of the land. With us being the chosen people, with the Israelites being the chosen people, hey, if we're taking the land based off of what the Lord wants us to do, we're not at fault. But you other nations, you guys are warring, and you have no direction. So you guys are just warring, taking lands that don't belong to you. So now you have these different nations that are always going to war with you to take back the land that they believe is theirs when it's not. So it says, Numbers 35 and 33, it says, do not pollute the land where you are. Bloodshed pollutes the land, and atonement cannot be made for the land on which blood has been shed except by the blood of the one who shed it. Do not defile the land where you live and where I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell among the Israelites. Right, so that's the I think an NIV version, but let me see if I can pull up the KJV version. Right, and that's why, this is why the land inheritance really matters. It says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood defileth the land. So the land is defiled. Looking at, when we go look at the so-called New World, or America, Babylon the Great, it was taken over by these Edomites. But who stayed here first? The Native Americans, the so-called Northern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom, what was it? Reuben, Gad, and also the Issacharites, right? So now, what's going on right now is the Issacharites are being they're being taken from the land that was theirs in the first place, and they're being shipped off back to these different places they were before. But guess what? These damn Edomites don't take account that you guys took the land from them first. So that's what happens. There's an ongoing conflict between the nations, right? Israel, of course, Israel and Esau, because Esau took the land that we were dwelling before he got there, right? But blood defiles the land. So the conflict is never going to end, because now only way that the land can be cleansed is but by your blood, Esau. That's why these Issacharites are going to keep on rising up against you, because you took their land. You see what they did to Reuben and Gad. You look at their population. They killed hundreds of millions of these Native Americans, man. Now they're only preserved to these little reservations, man. But Esau, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for that. So you know what? At the end of the day, nobody's going to have this land, because this land is going to be a heap of thermonuclear fire, right? It's going to be fire and brimstone, right? Nobody will dwell in this land, because of Esau Edom came and destroyed millions and millions of Native Americans, right? Displaced millions and millions of Israelites. So now Esau, you got to pay for that, right? That's why when you're warring and you got all these different conflicts, you got to look in the Bible and see what's the outcome, or what's the end game for what you've done to people. It says, so you should not pollute the land wherein you are, for blood defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein by the blood of him that sheddeth. So you have to get your blood shed, Esau. So just like these Palestinians and these Israelis are fighting over the land that don't belong to them, right? You got Esau Edom trying to hold on to a land that's not his either, right? The New World, right? Esau Edom wasn't over here. He came over here, you slaughtered millions of people, now he's taking the land. Now he's telling people, you can't be here. Now you got to go back to where you from. Now you got to go back to Mexico. But guess what? The Lord is going to revenge the northern kingdom. He's going to revenge Gad. He's going to revenge Reuben. What does it say? Gad, a troop shall the troop overcome you, but you should overcome at the last, right? You gonna get it, man, for what you did. Let's go into the land inheritance. Let's see, where is that at? Land inheritance. We're gonna start at 7. This is the inheritance of the married woman. This is Numbers 36, and I'm gonna start at 7. The property of every Israelite will remain attached to his tribe. Every woman who inherits property in an Israel tribe must marry a man belonging to the tribe. In this way, all Israelites will inherit the property of their ancestors, and the property will not pass from one tribe to another. Each tribe will continue to possess its own property. Right? So that's beautiful, because if you start giving up your inheritance, your land inheritance, then the tribes will start having an unequal amount of land. One tribe will have a lot of land, another tribe won't have any land. So to keep that even, you got to make sure you don't give up the inheritance of your land. And the woman that have to marry somebody from that tribe, so that the land is not given to the other tribes, and they don't have an unequal portion of land. So you see how the Lord does it? Everything is perfect with the Lord. He made these laws and these decrees, and that's why these nations were supposed to look at us and be at awe by the way we ran our society, right? You know, the way we operated, because these laws that we have are so beautiful when it comes to, governing ourselves, right? And this is what happens. Let's go to 1 Kings 21. So this is what happens when you take people's land. When you take people's land and you covet people's land, what happens? Bloodshed, right? You start killing people for land that doesn't belong to you. So this is 1 Kings 21, and we're gonna start at 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the place of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house. And I will give thee for it better vineyard than it, or if it seems good to thee, I will give thee worth of it in money. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid me that I give that inheritance of my fathers unto thee. Right? So understanding the law, he cannot give the inheritance of his father to you. He has to keep that inheritance. And Ahab came in the house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread. All right, so let me see. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite. And he said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else if I please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thy heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So if you read on in the story, she pretty much she accused him of something he didn't do. So she spread a false witness against him, and then he ended up dying, right? But when you want something or you covet something, it ends up with you, breaking more laws to get something that doesn't belong to you in the first place, which is the point, right? So when you look in the scriptures, when the nation of Israel gets into power, there will be no more wars. So these nations won't be able to pick up swords anymore and fight each other for things like that, like for land, for different skirmishes, which is going to make everything perfect. Everything is going to be in order, right? We're going to govern things by the law. So you cannot take this man's land. When we set those inheritances up for these nations again, the nations can't take people's land. That's his land. That's his plot of land that was given to him. You can't take his land because we're going to be governing things by the law. So let's go to Isaiah, the second chapter. It says, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. It shall come to pass that in the last days, that the mountain of the Lord house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and the nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and he will walk in the paths. For out of the Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation either, neither shall they learn war anymore. So now things are going to be at peace, because the righteous is that rule. Now the people are no longer mourning. Now they see why we are governing by these laws. They're going to see the transformation of the world from what it was under Esau's rule to how it is in the kingdom of heaven under the Israelites' rule. They're going to see a difference, right? That's why it states in the scriptures that all creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God, because under the sons of God, under their rule, the Israelites, the world is going to be ran in complete order, right? No more, no more war, no more conflict with these different nations. And if it is conflict with the nations, we'll know how to handle it. But it's not going to be nuclear weapons being built and bombs and things being built, because we're gonna stop all that. We're gonna have everything in order. So you can see why the land inheritance really matters, because with the land inheritance, all these different things would not even be happening, right? We got displaced from our land, so now all these people are coming and they're trying to claim the land of Israel like it's theirs, and it's not. Y'all don't have a right to this land, right? But that's what happens when you don't judge the world based off the laws of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. So with that, I'm going to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem HaKakwadash. Until next time, Lord willingly, Shalom.